Thank you for clicking on the More You Know Real Estate YouTube channel. I'm standing in a new construction home that I just built and am getting ready to sell it. Closing is today, and I'm standing in what represents for me about a year's worth of blood, sweat, and tears.
When you don't get no blood on my uniform, boy, you must be outside your mind.
And usually people exaggerate when they say that, but I literally mean it when I say, I've got blood in this property, I've got sweat, and I've got tears, and I've got a lot of money in this property. And I've got a lot of wins and losses along the way. So I wanted to share a little bit of my losses with you. Ultimately, it's a win because it's a net positive deal, but I think too much of real estate YouTube is rah, rah, go do it, why aren't you doing it? And I do believe real estate is an effective way to build wealth, but I also want to show the very honest sides of it, and from someone who is just a few years into it, still making mistakes, but getting there little by little. So I bought a house next door. I lived 3 houses down until 2 weeks ago. We just moved, but I lived 3 houses down, befriended the neighbor. They were going through just a ton in their life, the classic distressed seller situation. I said, hey, if I can list it for you, I'd be happy to list it. If I can buy it from you, I'm happy to buy it. Here's what I can pay. Got them under contract. Messy airship issues, almost didn't get the thing. It was a yours, mine, and ours situation. If you do real estate investing, you are going to come across a deal with messy airship issues. People got divorced, got married, died. Percentage of ownership split all over the place. Finally closed on the house. And the first L would be this, right? The first big loss would be I found some major defects with this house that I simply, part of me, I didn't look hard enough, and part of me, I just couldn't physically see them. There were 2 dumpster loads of trash in this house, as there will be in many distressed seller situations. And so once those dumpster loads came out, and it spent days of junk removal, it was evident that there was some pretty significant bowing in the basement wall that I hadn't seen, that ran me about $20,000 between the engineer, the post, the beams, everything that I had to do. I wanted to do it well, so I addressed those issues with the bowing in the wall. There were other items with the windows and removing some of the walls and the electric. Anytime you're getting into a home built in the 50s, 60s, even 70s, there's going to be unforeseen things. I accounted for maybe 10%, 15% cost overrun. And even in addition to the bowing in the walls, we had closer to 15 to 20% cost overrun on the actual construction. And that was just really, really difficult. It was taking longer. My general contractor got wrapped up in a big project that he thought was gonna take, a few weeks. It ended up taking him months, so he would put 1 guy on the job rather than 2 or 3 guys on the job. And I'm just down the block watching it crawl and crawl and crawl and not get finished.
One eternity later.
So that was quite frustrating. Simultaneously, I bought this house at the peak of the market. Now, I bought it right with the land in mind. And so the house was incidental, but I thought maybe I can make some money off of the house. Hindsight, I would have removed that junk, painted the whole house white, given it a deep clean, cut the grass, and put it on the market. Lost money, but I ended up losing money after a huge renovation anyways. So I guess all that to say, I knew I was overpaying for the house. I bought it right at the peak of the market a few months before interest rates started to go up. And obviously when interest rates go up, the supply and demand equilibrium starts to come more into play. There's less demand for houses because less people can afford houses. But this isn't a macroeconomics lesson. Basically, I was doing this renovation and getting ready to list the property as interest rates were spiking to their highest that they've been in quite a long time. And so that meant there are less interested buyers, right? And I did a really good job. People loved the renovations. I got a lot of showings, but at the end of the day, I could not get the price that I initially wanted for the property. So simple math tells you if you sell it for less than you think you're going to, and you have a lot more renovations than you think you're going to, your margin is cut into. Now, again, I had slight margins to begin with because the point was the extra piece of land I could get from the deal, but I ended up losing quite a bit of money on the flip. How much money? It's not really important, but I didn't really count it as, I still, have this pride chip on my shoulder that I've not lost money on a deal. And I went into the flip knowing I probably was going to lose money, might make a slight profit, might make 20, might lose 20, but I knew that the deal, the way I was thinking about the deal was new construction, right? And so here I am standing in a new construction where I've got blood, sweat, tears, and money in this property. So lost money on the neighboring flip, but for what I'm building and selling this house for, I'm actually making quite a bit of money in the end, right? Because this lot that I'm standing on would have been anywhere from 75 to 95, maybe even $100,000 lot. It's almost half an acre. We are, 11 minutes from uptown Charlotte and lots of other cool neighborhoods in Charlotte. And so the value of the deal was really in the land. So even though I lost money on the flip, it was still like I was getting the land significantly under market value. Now, I also went a little higher end on the finishes, right? I went quartz countertops, and I can show you even here, boom, there's beautiful quartz countertops, right? I went with higher end light fixtures instead of just the cheapest thing that Amazon could buy. I went with a nice tile shower instead of a fiberglass shower in the master. I went high-end doorknobs. I mean, I think just the little things that buyers can touch and feel and see that make the home feel not cheap, right? They go a long way. I went with a privacy fence so that someone could have an enclosed backyard. And so I tried to do little things, right? I didn't want to outpunt my coverage because, right, we're not in like the area of Charlotte where the homes sell for the most. I didn't want to make it too nice, but I did want to do the little things that just add those buyers are creatures of emotion, like we all are.
Anger, can you calm fear down? Thank you.
My pleasure, Joy.
And so when they see these light fixtures and when they see these various things, it really does help, and I can't say, okay, because I went higher end on the light fixtures, therefore I got $1,000 more, or because I did a fence, therefore I got $2,000 more. Right? There's not like exact values associated with each one of these items, but cumulatively, they make for a very aesthetically pleasing house. Even behind me, the house plan just called for drywall down there, and I wanted to do banisters. Simple, not that expensive, but a lot prettier, right, than just like a wall of drywall. And so there were decisions that I made throughout the process, even doing board and batten, siding, rather than just the typical parallel siding on the front of the house, create some contrast there. I really tried to make this an aesthetically pleasing house. I went to the market at $467, knowing that I was underpriced a little bit. Though I did have other people tell me, dude, you're not gonna get more than $440, $450, $460 for this house. So I would list it like $440 to $449. That's what multiple people were telling me. But I thought, you know what? I know we went a little bit higher end. It's a very large house. It's close to uptown Charlotte. Let's go $467. And I said, you know what? I think I'll get $475, $480 for it. I knew in my heart that I was listing a little bit low, but that's a strategy, right? We list low to create a bidding war. And sure enough, the showings started piling up. I went coming soon status, which basically means you can't get in the house, but people can see the house. It's coming soon. It's about to be active. It's not active yet. And before I had even had one showing, before I went active, I had one of the most ridiculous offers that I've ever gotten in real estate. I got an offer with $100,000 due diligence.
What I need is $100,000.
Now, for the Charlotte, North Carolina contract, that means that buyer was prepared to part without ever stepping foot in the house with $100,000 of non-refundable money. They would not see that money back. I was blown away. It was like a scene from a movie where I got the text while I was on a call, and I look at the text and I get back on the call and I'm like, I didn't know who I was talking to anymore. Like, my mind was in another realm. I'm like, I didn't just get an offer with $100,000 due diligence, but I did. And I did something that people think is crazy, and I pivoted, or I countered for a higher asking price. And I said, listen, if someone's gonna give $20,000 to a house, they're probably not gonna back out. If someone's gonna give $30,000, they're definitely not gonna back out. So 100,000 is a nice number. I know the buyer's not gonna back out, but really past 20,000, past 30,000, it really doesn't make any difference. That buyer's not backing out. And so I said, will you consider a higher purchase price for $30,000 in due diligence? And sure enough, they did. I got under contract without ever having a showing. I was ecstatic. I staged it really nice. I think everything that I chose to do aesthetically and in the staging paid off. It photographed very well, and I got this thing under contract. Here I am today at the closing table. Now, the building process itself was incredibly difficult. It was much slower, right? And so as we're kind of in this recession, labor and material prices just get affected. It was hard to find good subcontractors. And then my general contractor, I actually did have to fire them about 50% of the way through the build.
Fired. I beg your pardon?
fired.
But I...
There were things that they had said that I thought were dishonest, and then there were just their timeline. They kept on saying, yeah, we'll pick up the pace. Yeah, we'll pick up the pace. We'll pick up the pace. And they hadn't, and they didn't, and they kept at a very, very slow pace. So finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was one day I was standing in this very room, and I said, hey, listen, man, if you guys need to charge me more, if you guys, whatever you need to do, I need you to care a little bit more about my project. You seem very spread thin. I'm paying you on time when you're asking me to pay you. I'm begging you. It has been way too long. This build is gonna take like a year when you told me it would take somewhere in the 5 to 6 month range. Please, I'm begging you to prioritize me. And he said, dude, I got you. I hear you. I'm sorry. It got painted today. The house got painted today. Because I said, man, it's been weeks since the cabinets were hung and the drywall's just sitting here. Nothing is happening. Like, why is nothing happening sometimes for weeks on end? And he said, man, it got painted today. And I'm standing in this room and I'm looking at gray drywall. It's been mudded, right? But it's not been painted. And I said, what'd you say? And he said, it got painted today. I know the painters went there today and we'll start speeding up. And I said, you're positive about that? He's like, yes. I was like, you verified that? He's like, yes, I verified that it's been painted today. And I said, all right, man, I'm standing in this room right now. I'm looking at a sea of gray drywall. It has not been painted. I don't know if it was incompetence. I don't know if you have bad subcontractors, or I don't know if you just bold-faced lied to me, but whatever the case was, it was just getting to the point where I have to protect my bottom line, and they weren't. So a good buddy of mine, I think he had pity on me. I was very thankful. He looked down with compassion, and he's like, I'm sorry for what this other general contractor is putting you through. Let me see if I can help you out. We switched permits, right? We switched contractors in the middle of the build, and I project managed it. Now, I got a ton of good experience, because up until that point, I had been overseeing, I'd been paying bills, I'd been visiting, but I hadn't been like nitty gritty project managing. And so he pulled the permits and I became the project manager, scheduling the subs. Oh, they show up and this isn't there, what they need to be there, yada, yada, yada. It was a huge learning experience. I've learned a ton. I fired that same builder on another build simultaneously. I'm project managing that build, and it was just a great learning experience. I have more say in the final product. I'm learning a ton, and I think it's just getting done faster and better as a result. And so certainly there was learning curves. There was things that I didn't know. Lots of time on YouTube, lots of time calling other general contractors, wanting to glean as much knowledge as I can. But I'm just very happy. I'm very thankful that I'm finally sitting in the finished product that I've been working on for so long. I sold the flip. Those people are moving in soon, and the new construction is finally sold. Here I am, and I'm on to 4 more new constructions with that same builder. So we're really excited. We started an LLC called Antioch Building Group. Antioch was the first place that people were called Christians in the book of Acts. It was kind of a launching point for Paul's missionary journeys all throughout the book of Acts. And so we're super excited to start an LLC, start a home building business where we're partnering together on these builds, and hopefully lots more to come from Antioch Building Group. And so now I am going to, hopefully there will be a B-roll with some pictures. I also apologize, I don't have my microphone set up and the lighting is awful in here. But before this home sold, I wanted to stand and say thank you for watching. Thank you to the Lord for leading me and guiding me. Again, there were some dark times as this was progressing really slowly. I'm making interest payments on the loan, and then I finally had to take matters into my own hands, which presented challenges, no doubt. However, I just could not be more happy with the finished product, and I'm really excited to know that someone's going to be enjoying this house for many years to come. I'm Charlie Moore. This is the More You Know Real Estate YouTube channel. I am thankful if you made it all the way to the end of this video, 14 minutes in. That was kind of you to watch. Hopefully more content to come. Talk to you guys soon.